Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to Generation X Nation. Now we're gonna get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta and we're gonna talk real quick about the Real Housewives of Rhode Island reunion. Because that reunion was all about Rula, Joe Ellen, and Brian lying behind. Okay. However, we're gonna get the Housewives of Atlanta out first. Now, the Housewives of Atlanta, Angela. Whew, it wasn't looking good for you, sis. That's all I'm going to say. Before we get started, as always, thank you to all of my new subscribers or anybody who leaves a comment. I definitely appreciate it. Now, with that being said, you know my disclaimer, people. Everything on my channel is alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. All commentary is done week to week based on the episode that airs. I do not have a dog in this fight. However, I do the commentary based on the episode with the understanding that some scenes are edited out and left on the editing room floor. After these things air, it's always a lot of back and forth on social media. So normally I wait a day or two before I do the commentary. And Angela has been back on social media. I'm not going to read it. I'm sure other content creators have discussed it with you. Back and forth about you'll see the truth at the reunion. Just wait and see. I'm not lying. Angela just pulled back on the social media comments and let it go. Just let it go. Let us get a break. Let us watch the reunion and let the viewers make the final decision. Or whether you was telling the truth or lying. We'll figure it out. Okay? Now, with that being said, the ladies have arrived in Scotland, and I'm not going to go in any particular order right now because my thoughts are all over the place. I did take some notes, but I'm going to get a few people out the way before I dive into the Angela and the Shamia thing because it just had everybody in a chokehold. I didn't watch anybody else's video. I'll just be honest. I try to do my videos before I watch other people's videos, but I have seen clips on social media, Instagram, the regular sites, Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff. But I try not to watch too many other commentaries before I do mine because I don't want to sound like I'm repeating what other people say or stealing somebody's content because I don't do that over here. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of us out here that do this. So we do have sometimes similar thoughts. Okay. And I'll just leave it at that. Now, we're going to talk about, first of all, K. Michelle. She didn't give a lot this particular episode, but Shamia did apologize to Kay about what was said in the club that night with her and her mom and all of that. I did appreciate that, but I also think it was a strategic move. I think Shamia was apologizing to Kay Michelle because she's seen her numbers dwindling down and she needed somebody to stay on her team. She needed to keep the numbers up and she needed to make sure that she still had some allies in the group. Okay. So I think that's why that apology needed to happen. Although people were accusing K. Michelle of following Shamia and being Shamia's lapdog, K. Michelle said Shamia can't lead me nowhere to the mall because every time I call her, she at the mall shopping. And I thought that was cute. That was true K. Michelle. Okay, that was a true K. Michelle shade. But yeah, I think that was one of the reasons that Shamia felt the need to apologize to K. Michelle. Well, let's talk about Kelly. Kelly decided to apologize to Phaedra. Well, I'm sorry, not apologize. Thank Phaedra for taking on her legal issues. And then she also thanked Shamia for allowing her a place to stay. Now, y'all remember a couple episodes ago where Kelly was getting her teeth done for $70,000. And now she needs a place to stay and she needs an attorney for free. Again, I don't know how the $70,000 was transmitted to her. Was it transmitted to the dentist automatically? Did it go through electronic transfer deposit to her bank account? But it just seems odd every time she talk about what they're doing for her and how they helped her. And you got a mouthful of teeth that cost $70,000. Now, I don't know how much porcelain veneers cost. I thought they was roughly around 30, 40, but 70,000. I mean, do you got like Beyonce grade teeth? Like what you got going on there? And once again, Not gonna get too deep into Kelly's finances, but we all seen the content creators talking about last week or week before last when she did the interview, and not the interview, when she was sitting with the financial advisor, and she said she made 75,000 plus another $15,000 in the restaurants, which totals to 90,000 a month. You multiply that times 12 months, and she makes like 1 point something thousand, a million a year. That's what she said. Now you minus the $22,000 a month that she said on her expenses, hair, and all that stuff. That's about $260,000 that you can deduct out of the million. We ain't talking about taxes. We're not talking about employee payroll. We're not talking about inventory, like buying, restocking your stuff. We're not talking about she didn't mention the rent payment. She didn't mention utility bills for the house and the restaurant. So you start adding that up, and that little $1 million estimated allegedly that she was sitting down there trying to convince us that she made doesn't go that far. That's all I'm saying. And according to one of her employees, allegedly, who's doing a video on Instagram somewhere, she said Kelly be paying them cash app. That's all I'm saying. So if that's how you're running your business, Kelly, I can understand why you would need the free legal advice and also a free place to stay until you get your, I guess, finances together. And I can also understand why you experiencing some of this financial issues. Just my opinion. But anyway, Kelly decided to, thank everybody who helped her out. And if you notice, once again, in this episode, Kelly is pretty quiet because she knows on both sides of the fence, she's getting help. So she got to stay on that fence. She got to stay in the middle. But I will say this about Kelly. She looked good in that blue. I didn't like the outfit itself, but that color blue against her skin looked really good. That may be your color, Kelly. Okay, the outfit was okay, but I did like that blue on you. So the little furry hat and the little thing you had around your neck, that looked good on your skin. You said you was going for some kind of Scottish look with the other stuff, but the blue does look good. So you may need to consider that. And then she also was at the BET Awards. She looked okay, but just her being there was probably a big thing for her. So we gonna go ahead and get Kelly out the way. That's all I got out of there with Kelly. Kelly just girl, get your finances together. Okay. And like I said in the other video, I don't know how Bravo selects these women to be on the show. They're supposed to be like bigger than life itself, living these grand lives and living these big mansions and all of that. And Kelly did not foot any of those bills. And we okay with people coming on the show not having anything, i.e., Robin Dixon. Okay, we okay with people coming on reality TV that don't have nothing at all. I mean, let's be for real. Back in the Basketball Wives days, Tammy Rowland was probably one of the least wealthiest wives they brought out in Miami. And look at her now. She probably surpassed half the people that was on that show with her. I can tell you that. So, like I say, we love the rags to riches story. You don't have to hide it. Bethany Frankel in New York. She was not very rich when she came. She admitted she was pretty much homeless. And I think, I don't know if it was Jill or somebody who brought her onto the show and helped her out. So I kind of think Robin Dixon, at the Potomac, because she was in close proximity or friends with Giselle. Giselle knew Robin was broke when she got on that show, but that show helped her level up. Basketball Wives helped Tammy level up. Bethany Frankel really leveled up off of Real Housewives of New York. So, Kelly, it was okay to come on the show and tell people your real life. You came on there faking like you had all this going on. Even the first season when you and Britt Eady stepped on the scene and, y'all walking around there in these nice cars. Britt Eady broke. I ain't saying broke, but let's just keep it a buck. She said she divorced her husband. We don't know how she making ends meet. Okay. So, but it's okay to come on there and not be in the best places. Look at Mia Thornton, Housewives of Potomac. She came in here talking about, I own all of these chiropractor offices, and found out she ain't own nothing. And end up getting took in front right from under her nose. And then they had to move out the big mansion and move in a little condo. Just tell us the real story. It's called reality TV, Kelly. That's all. I'm gonna leave Kelly alone for now. Now, let's get into the Shamea of it all, and then we'll talk about Angela. Now, Shamea, First of all, I kind of think Shamia was the one who probably helped Kelly out a little bit with the teeth. And if you notice, her and Shamia are always on trips together. And I'm like, Kelly, if you broke, how are you taking all these trips? And I know business and your business and your personal finances is different, but Kelly acts like she don't have anything. She couldn't buy her daughter a car, allegedly. Her daughter wanted a car for college. She couldn't buy her little hoopty for college. So allegedly, you're going through it, but you're going on all these trips. I ain't saying Shamia footing the bill, but it just sound real like Kelly know how to get. She know how to go along to get along to get what she need. And I'm not saying she using her friends, but I would just be very skeptical of Kelly hanging out and maybe not paying the bill, like going out to dinner and you always picking up the tab. Y'all be careful of women like that, especially in your friend group. All right. Um, I felt like Shamia was catching strays left and right and in between. Angela, you don't have to go so hard on Shamia because what you're doing is flipping the script. And your people are starting to feel sorry for Shamia and aligning with her and starting to dislike you. And you were a fan favorite. Okay. So Shamia is doing a great job by herself of getting people not to like her. We don't need you to add any sauce to that. And you're taking it too far as we concerned. All right. So just pull back just a little bit. Um, it seems like to me, Shamia is very good at going on interviews and playing the perpetual victim all the time while throwing shade. I'm not saying Shamia is innocent of anything or some of the smoke she's getting on the show if it's not warranted. Some of it is, but a lot of it is not. And we should not be teaming up on her. And it got to the point where I'm watching the show, it seemed like even the ladies was uncomfortable because Angela would not stop. Now, Shamia, I understand what you're trying to do. Like I say, she's doing a good job by herself, making herself look bad. So Shamia tends to have stuff with everybody around her because kind of like Drew said, she can't get Portia. She can't shake Portia. So what she does is try to, it's kind of like she's having issues with people around Portia. And then you have Angela on the other side who's I don't know, got her nose up Portia's behind at this point. And I like Portia. Portia's not making people do this. But she got her nose so far at Portia behind, she's starting to fight the Portia and Shamia battle for Portia, which she needs to stop. Because even Drew pulled back from that. But Angela wants to be the last man standing and continue to fight that battle for Portia. Portia don't have to do nothing but sit back and be quiet, which is all she's doing. Now Cynthia come in and she'll throw in a red flag, like flag on the play, and try to slow it down. And even Pinky will do that, but Angela keeps going. And you don't need to defend Portia, Angela. Portia can do it herself. So Shamia can't get to Portia. So her arguments is back and forth with the people around Portia. And it's maybe bothering her a little bit that Portia is ignoring her or paying her dust. But there was a time in the episode where Portia did speak up, as far as where Shamia went, because I think Portia even felt, hey, this Angela Shamia thing is going too far and y'all need to chill. But that didn't stop Angela. Angela was on a mission. And we'll get to that. Um, Shamia was out of line when she did say whatever she said to Angela's daughter, like you're nicer than her mother. But Angela, again, took it too far when she started going off on Shamia, you disrespecting my daughter and this and that, and we got stuff going on. Angela, Shamia don't know what you and your daughter got going on because she's not your friend. You don't talk to her about stuff like that. So for her to say that to your daughter, it was out of line. She did apologize, and Phaedra said kids are off limits, but that daughter is a grown adult. But I get what Phaedra was saying. She didn't know anything about you and your daughter's issues. And we need to find out why you and your daughter has so many issues. And I don't think it has anything to do with her getting married. That issue was probably way before she married that person. Something not right there with you and your daughter. Is some other story behind that, kind of like Jackie Christie and her daughter, Chantel. And I'm not saying it's as bad as that, but something else is going on behind that. That's all I'm gonna say. It ain't just about her getting married and not telling you. You got some deeper issues, just like Jackie Christie and Chantel had deeper issues that basically caused that show to be canceled. And I'm not saying that's where you and your daughter at, but there are some deeper issues there. Um, Now, with that being said, I felt Shamia was being harassed just tremendously by Angela. Angela could have just left it alone. Meanwhile, Portia's on a mute challenge, Phaedra's on a mute challenge, and they're just watching this go back and forth. But this is y'all trip. So y'all were responsible for trying to keep it level there, keep the level heads going. Everybody at the table feeling uncomfortable because Angela is out of line. Now, speaking of Angela, just my opinion, Angela, you are lying, allegedly. Everything you said, Shamia was able to dispute. When you called that lady on the phone in front of Portia and Phaedra, she told them something opposite of what you said. That lady never said Shamia was sleeping with her husband. You said it, and then you finally admitted you said it. Why? So when Shamia is saying you coming after my marriage and you defaming me, she is right. You said on camera, well, I said that. You admitted the guilt. So her giving you a cease and desist letter allegedly and then saying you coming after her marriage, Shamia wasn't lying about that. She was. You were. You continue to talk about her husband. Then you said, well, she was coming after my marriage talking about Charles. She didn't say anything really about Charles. You accused that girl of sleeping with the Hawks, the Falcons, the Atlanta Braves, whatever. She has a husband too that's hearing you accusing his wife and calling his wife outside of her name. Shamia had a problem, I think, because as Angela was calling her these names and accusing her of messing with this man and that man, nobody was speaking up for her. And Shamia, I have to say this. When little Kelly was sitting next to you and accused Portia of sleeping with every Nigerian in Atlanta, and your face, your facial expression did what it did, and start calling her Portia, you never stopped Kelly from saying that about Portia. So if you wanted these ladies to speak up and tell Angela to stop talking that crap about you, you should have gave the same energy when Kelly was saying all that stuff about Portia. Okay? Because Kelly sat in Portia's face in front of all y'all and said, you F everybody and every Nigerian in Atlanta. She kept calling her Horsha, Horsha, Horsha. She said, why did you steal that lady's husband? And not one time did you open your mouth and tell your friend, hey, you went too far. So Portia's sitting there watching them eat you alive. She's not saying anything. The table's really not saying anything. And you felt teamed up on because nobody's helping you. When you watch Kelly sit in front of Portia's face and say, why did you steal that lady's husband? Now, Angela said, you effed Greg or Gregory. What is his name? George. I'm sorry, not Greg, George. You F George. We know it was made up, but she said it at the whole table. And you felt a certain way because you coming after your marriage. Nobody defended you. Nobody said anything. And it's like you sat there and let Kelly go in on Portia and didn't say nothing. Didn't say nothing. Portia didn't say nothing when Angela said you messed with the Hawks, this, and this, because maybe y'all got dirt on each other and know who's really telling the truth or who's not. I don't know. It's all alleged. Okay. So yes, they sat there and you had to take it just like they had to take Portia had to take it when your little minions was talking stuff to Portia about who she allegedly slept with. And Portia's not married. So if she's sleeping with this person, that person, if she's sleeping with half Atlanta, she's single at this point, but you were married, so I get it. Now, Angela, her saying that your husband cheated on you really hit a sore spot because we all know allegedly Charles has cheated in the past, but maybe something recent happened that we don't know about because you still upset about that. And that was shit, I don't know, last season. Hell, even Phaedra said, I didn't even know he had a wife. Never met him, but I met Charles several times. You're not mad at Phaedra. So it's all to me bullcrap, Angela. But anyway, she calls the lady on the phone to try to get her, Miss Ashley, who's George's wife, to try to get her to coincide with her story. The story fell apart. And even Portia and Phaedra in the confessionals is saying Angela's lying, but they're not saying nothing right there at the time it's happening. Okay. Then she says, George said you paid him. She said, hey, he donated $10,000 to my charity for breast cancer. And you see them doing that. He said, yes, I had to give her some money. And he probably was saying in a joking way, but you act like he paid you 10, you paid Shamia 10 grand for money. Now you're trying to accuse a lady of being some type of escort. She married Angela. Just like you don't want her coming for your marriage, you are coming for her marriage. What part of that you don't get? And that was very shady. And then when Shamia sat in that room and showed those text messages, that cleared everything up for me. And I believe Shamia. Like I said, Angela, Shamia doesn't have no problem getting people not to like her. Okay? But what you're doing now is got a lot of us starting to pull back and say, you know what? We understand the back and forth of reality TV, but sometimes there's a line you don't cross, and when you're taking it too far. And right now, it's bullying. You're taking it too far. You're being disrespectful, and you are saying stuff that's challenging to her marriage. Like K. Michelle said, I don't see Shamia cheating and getting kicked out of that big old mansion from that rich husband of hers. I don't see it either. Now, I see Shamia being a beautiful black woman that maybe the men around the industry that she's in, because she's seen, she works for the Hawks organization. There's a lot of beautiful young black men that play ball and work there. They probably do come at her. She probably be nice and smile at them, flirty a little bit, because that's the job. She may decide, I'd rather do that than to make enemies. And then she go home to her rich husband in that mansion. Because most of them guys is on that team, probably smiling and kikiing with her, probably got about 5 baby mamas and 12, 11 kids. We know how NBA players are. Allegedly, not all of y'all. Don't get on my back, but you know what I'm saying. Um, and again, at the end of the day, I feel like Portia and Phaedra should have did more and jumped on Angela about her making this stuff up, because we already know it was made up. That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of Shamia I think a lot of Angela's issues with Shamia is rooted in jealousy, because there's no basis to her issue with Shamia. The only basis she had is from the first season, where she's saying that Shamia accused Drew and Angela of coming between her and Portia's friendship. And you still riding off of that because Shamia said something about your husband being in the streets and you called her a hoe. You still riding off of that, telling her she in the streets and slept with all the team members or whatever. You got it, Angela. It's giving Mia be lying. Angela be lying. That's what I'm getting out of it. It's giving the Mia be lying from Potomac. Mia came on Potomac. First season, we was like, Mia's good. I love Mia, because Mia came right in and said, I had this done, that done. This my old dude. He's 99,000 years old. We got business. I mean, she came in there. Everybody loved Mia. She was the new it girl on Potomac, checking the ladies. And then the next season, she started falling off because she went too far. When she started talking about her husband's mental issues, then they lost the businesses, and then she tried to say one of the babies wasn't his. It was some ex-boyfriend, Inc., allegedly, that she was dating and had been. When she started going that way, it took it too far. And then all of a sudden, Mia B. Line was gone, because she used the whole paternity storyline, which was all a lie. So this is what we saying, Angela. You took off hotter than firecracker first season. The season ended. Everybody loved the new girl. Angela Oakley was the it girl. And now, towards the end of this season, your numbers are falling, Angela. I suggest you get off of social media. Let us watch the reunion. If nothing else, find a sit down with Shamia somewhere along the line, and y'all sit down and talk and apologize to each other. If it's nothing else, for the camera, and have a mutual friendship. And we need to see y'all taking pictures together at different events and hanging out together and squashing this beef. Because right now, even though the world wants to not like Shamia, they really not liking you at this point. Shamia is loud. Shamia is wild. Shamia is funny. Shamia is a bit much for us, but she's not coming in crossing over the lines like you have been doing. Now, again, she's had beef with everybody. She done said some smart stuff to people, but what you're doing right now is not telling the truth and trying to ruin this lady's reputation. And you are not, you're saying little things in your windows about things that could affect her marriage. Because if you keep repeating a lie, some people start to try to make it be the truth. And so now every time they see Shamia out, and if a male is present around her, they will pretend like that's who Shamia is messing with, or that must be one of her side dudes or whatever. And then Gerald gets into the picture and he may not like that. And then all of a sudden there's issues in their marriage for real issues. Or he may tell her to get off the show. I don't think Gerald wanted her on the show anyway. I think he did it because he loves his wife and she wanted to be there. So Angela, you taking the storyline too far. Dial it back, son. Have it have it sit down with Shamia. I don't even care if it's on camera, off camera, but somewhere between the end of this reunion y'all just filmed and before y'all start filming again, I don't know who getting they peach back or not, but if you happen to get your peach back and Shamia gets her peach back, have a sit down before y'all start filming or something, or wait till y'all start filming and have a sit down and get y'all friendship or at least being cordial. Because Portia and Shamia have been cordial the whole season. They ain't talking. I know the next episode they're gonna explode on each other and the real truth will come out. But we'll talk about that when it happens because that's just odd to me for them to have been friends since the age of 14 and now they can't stand each other. But I think it has more to do with their mothers than them and a little bit of jealousy somewhere in there. And Angela, I'm seeing a green eye monster come out of you. I'm seeing a Mia Thornton all over again. Okay. If you want to come in, I keep telling y'all, call up Stacey Rush up there in Potomac. Call Stacey up. Stacey be lying right to our face, but for some reason we love it because her lies are like what they call little white lies. They just funny lies. She ain't harming nobody. You know, if she's saying, "Hey, so and so had to be out of town, he couldn't make the briefing," that's not a terrible lie. He just didn't want to come. But she not out there saying you sleeping with this person, that person, and your kids. She ain't doing that. And that's how you come in as a newbie, win our hearts, win an award, be, one of the most talked about new housewives that they've had in a long time. Mia was on her way there and then she went left. She just took it too far, trying to constantly create storylines when she should just rolled it out and just been exactly who she was when we met her on day one. Mia. Angela, we love you. But now you're taking it too far, and you're gonna have the same downfall as Mia Thornton if you don't stop. Call up Stacey Rush and tell her how to, and she will give you a play-by-play book of how to get you out of this hot pickle you done created yourself, yeah, that you done put yourself in. And I hope the storyline does continue to next season. Again, don't have a dog in this fight. I wish Shamia the best. I wish Angela the best. But that beef is just ugly. Get off the internet, Angela. Let it ride. Let Portia and Shamia figure it out. And y'all got to stop dogpiling on Shamia. Shamia is doing a great job by herself, getting the audience to like her or not like her. She don't need any extra. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's move on. I'm going to talk about these housewives of Rhode Island. I watched the whole season, but I didn't always commentate on it because it was just a lot of the same stuff going on to me. But the particular characters I'm going to talk about, one, again, it took me almost all season to learn their names. Like, not so much their names, but keep putting the faces to the right names because, again, even Andy said it. A lot of the viewers feel like y'all look alike, and y'all do. A lot of y'all got the same lip injections. Y'all hair is the same color. Even though, your hair is a little different, they all got the same long hair. You look alike. That's all I'm going to say. Now, we're going to save the best for last, which is Rella and Kelsey. Rosie apparently is still working on her house. Hopefully it'll be built finished soon and she can tell us the exact square feet. Apparently it shrunk because they took a third floor off. We don't really care, Rosie. Build your house. Don't worry about what Kelsey said about your house because Kelsey don't have to live in it, number one. Kelsey is in an apartment, number two, and Kelsey never owned a house. She was down there living with some rich guy, laying up being his bed wench or a high-paid escort or side piece, whatever she want to call herself nowadays. I wouldn't even worry about what the hell Kelsey said about me or my house. So you did the right thing telling Kelsey to go kick rocks. That's all I'm saying. Alicia, get you some crackers. She said, I'm gonna get some oyster crackers. Alicia loves some crackers. Get you some crackers, Alicia. Get some crackers with your name on it, at least a picture. Get your Bethany Frankel thing going on, okay? Because Bethany made sure she put her name on all kind of skinny girl. She got skinny girl salad dressing, skinny girl margaritas, and what Bethany took advantage of that. Do it, Felicia. We like you. I mean, not Felicia. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, Alicia. We like you, Alicia. You didn't really give us that many problems. You just ate crackers all day. Liz, I heard Liz is leaving the show. I think it was just too much for Liz. I don't know, just something about Liz to me. I feel like Liz had allegedly, in my opinion, I feel like Liz might have sipped a little bit too much to me, the sippy sippy type girl. It's just something about Liz that was always off. And it's weird when you have a lady who just loves baby dolls like that. It's nice to have collections of stuff, but she was kind of weird with her doll collection. All right. And also, Alicia, stop playing, how do I put this? Acting slow when it comes to your personal and financial life and your business and your relationship with your boyfriend. What's his name? Because that man gave you 50% of his business. Your name is in a trust for the home. You have a child by him, and you're sitting there like, I don't know any of that. I don't know. I don't like, girl, this is not 1975. This is 2026. You need to know where everything is going on because you have a child with this man. And you need to make sure that if anything should happen, that your child has access to what she has the right to have access to. So go look at that trust that he got set up. Get that paper and sign off that 50% share. You better do that, Liz. And you better start learning more about finances and stuff like that. Because I hate when people, especially women, allow men to completely control it. Nothing's wrong with that. But if he should fall ill or sick or God forbid leave this earth and you sitting around here don't even know how the mortgage is paid and y'all been together all these years, that's just crazy to me. But live your nobody telling people how to run a relationship. I just think that's odd. Whew. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. The three people who ran this season: Ruella, Kelsey, and Joe Ellen. That's who is running the show. We're gonna start out with Kelsey. Kelsey is trying to convince y'all because somebody told her said that Kelsey was a high paid escort. Kelsey said, I don't pay. Apparently, somebody had a website that used her image. I guess it was what you call it, fraud or whatever, how they steal your identity, created a website, and they were charging $29,000 to, I guess, for her to entertain them. She said she don't charge money for the holes in her body. I'll just look at it like that. She said she was hacked. She said that the person who now follow me, the person who allegedly created that account was related to, well, was friends with some people that she hung out with back in, I think she said Boston somewhere. She had a group of friends she hung out with in Boston, and that person was a friend of theirs or in close proximity of a friend of theirs and got her information and hacked her account, used her photos, and created an escort account. So I'm like, so to be clear, some friends of yours in Boston you was hanging out with has an associate who's an escort. Well, who are you hanging out with? You hanging out with people who know escorts or in the escort business, but you're not. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Um, they asked her, the guy that she was allegedly dating, that the mansion that she was living in, she said he filmed with her until he found out it was housewives, and he said, no, we're not doing housewives. So he said, edit me out. Now that's what she said. And I find that weird because if he was willing to walk around and film with you for another show, say they're doing a show about boats and yachts, and he's ready to go and film with you then, why wouldn't he go and film with you for Housewives? It would have been the same thing. You would have been on TV. He would have been exposed either way. So I'm not buying that, Kelsey. Try that on somebody else. Um, she said also that she wasn't in a polygamy. I'm looking at my notes because I try to keep a few notes on her. She said that she was not in a polygamous relationship, but she said he was seeing other people. So a polygamous relationship, if I'm right, that's a man who has more than one, like, wife or girlfriend, whatever, and they all know about each other. So to be clear, you living in Rhode Island in his mansion at least 6 months out of the year, and then he goes to Miami and stay there 6 months out of the year with the other girlfriend. That means it was more than one of y'all sleeping with this guy or having a relationship with this guy, which to me means polygamy. Or you're in a polygamous or polyamorous, whatever you want to call it. She said, I was never in a polyamorous relationship. But yeah, he did see other people. It wasn't just me. He did go to Miami and spend time there. And there were other women he's seen while we were dating. Then what is that, Kelsey? I know a lot of girls in the beauty pageant business ain't supposed to be that bright, but I know a lot of them that are bright. Kenya Moore, one of them. What was it, Kelsey? If he was dating you, or at least taking care of you financially, and also dating and taking care of other women financially, then yeah, you were in a relationship with a guy who was in a relationship with other women. Now you can call it what you want to, but he wasn't your man. That's all I'm saying, Kelsey. Now I'm not saying you an escort, allegedly, not saying that. All I'm saying is, yeah, it was a little polyamorous, whether you like to admit it or not, because you knew that he was entertaining other women while you was in that mansion. Kind of gives me, what's the new show on Netflix? Polygamous. Rich guy with a bunch of women all over town. He didn't marry y'all, but he did, have his way with each of y'all whenever he felt like it. So, Kelsey, miss me with that. They were right. You were in a polygamous relationship. Stop playing in our faces. And you sat there and said it on the stage. Y'all go back and look. She said he was entertaining other people or dating other people. She knew about the girl in Miami, and there was other people off and on. She was there for 10 years. That man was taking care of her good. But let me give you the lesson out of all of this. Let me, before I go. She said the sugar daddy has completely cut her off. And now Bryant, the new guy, not Brian, I forget his name, but he is paying her bills now, at least her car note and everything. So Kelsey is a person who, a lady who likes to be kept. She's a kept woman. She wants a soft life, and whoever she meets as a man will have to take care of her expenses. Nothing wrong with that. Kelsey's going to make sure a man pays her bills for her, and maybe that's how she was raised, bred. I don't know. But let me go back to her saying that she wasn't in a polyamorous relationship, but yet the guy she was dating had two or three other women that she knew of off the cut that he visited from time to time, month to month. Then she says he filmed with me for the other show, but he wouldn't film with me for Housewives. Doesn't make sense because both shows would have aired on network TV, allegedly, or at least some type of television station. So he was okay with seeing you on one show, but he wasn't okay with him being on Housewives with you. I don't believe any of that, Kelsey. I believe that man did not want you and him on film, and he kicked you out of that house when he found out it was Housewives, because eventually the detectives would have started Googling the house, who owned it, found out the name, the family, his kids, and all that other stuff. It ain't that hard, Kelsey. It's Rhode Island. That's not a big town. So people would eventually figure it out. Somebody would have came forth and said, hey, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, I know her. She does my hair. I know the guy. His name is this. And I think they have. I'm not going to say who allegedly they said it was, but it's supposed to have been close to some guy that was a judge. And I'll leave it at that. Now, Kelsey, it's the last thing I'm going to say. You spent 10 years with this alleged sugar daddy. Alleged sugar daddy. And this is when I go back to the comparison. Kim Zolciak had her sugar daddy named, what was Big Papa? May he rest in peace. When that show first aired, Kim Zolciak was running around town telling everybody how she had Big Papa buy her this, Big Papa buy her that, but Big Papa was married. But what we did see was Big Papa write a check out for a Cadillac Escalade, and she drove off that lot. So she had a real Big Papa, okay? Now you, on the other hand, was there for 10 years, and you left and had to get him to pay your rent and your car note and your health insurance, because you was starting over again with nothing. But you was with a millionaire for 10 years, or a billionaire, I don't know his wealth, but he was leasing the millions for 10 years, living in his mansion, and you didn't have nothing in the bank. Who was leading you through this? Because if you would have talked to me, let me tell you them Chanel bags that he's spending $5,000-$6,000 for, girl, you should have took them right back to the store. Got that money. Went down to whatever your version of Canal Street or Chinatown and got a dupe and put the other $4,950 in the bank. Okay? When he went out and bought you the Louis Vuitton or the Christian Red, you could have been cashing that stuff back in, getting money, and going and buying the dupe and put your money in the bank. What is wrong with you? You should have never 10 years and you left there and you didn't even have a half a meal in the bank saved up. Girl, who teaching y'all how to? Okay. Well, I will say about Kim Zolciak, that man bought the townhouse for her, bought her a car, put money in her bank account. And when she did meet Croy, Croy had money. So she can walk away from him and went over to court. Now she broke and Big Papa no longer here. So she's struggling out here trying to make ends meet, trying to get back on TV and all that other stuff. And it's working. She getting little shows, gigs here and there, and spending her daughter's money off the next generation. But hey, Kelsey, come on now. 10 years and that man can give you a pardon gift of $250,000 or something. That's all I'm saying. Didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense to me. Now, Joellen and Rula. Ruella and Joellen do not like each other. We completely understand that. For whatever reason, Joellen feels she has to spill Rula's tea. I don't know why. If Rula chooses to stay with this man, Joellen, that is her freaking business. That is her husband. Let it freaking go. But I understand now why Joellen is so bent on exposing Ruella. Because Ruella's husband, Brian, she believes that was the reason that she got fired. Ruella tried to say you got fired because you was sleeping around, whatever. Ruella, don't even talk about anybody cheating or sleeping. Just leave that subject alone. Because the way your husband running around here with this mistress and admitting it and being videotaped and standing in front of everybody, you still sitting there just allowing it and even put a tracker on your car so he could see where you going so you don't catch them where they at. Girl, be quiet. Just shut up. And then you gonna call her, you ain't nothing but a whore. And she said your husband's the whore. She was right. She was right. And you admitted that Brian did call the job that she worked at. I don't know who he talked to, but you know, Rhode Island's a small place, so they probably all in the same circle, especially if y'all in a certain income level. You probably all belong to the same country clubs, golf clubs, you're down at the same restaurants, you belong to the same yacht clubs, all of that. So yes, I can see that happening. I can see Brian knowing somebody that know where she works at and calling in a favor and getting her fired because she's messing with his marriage. Brian seems like he's that deceitful. I can also see Brian telling his side chick that you did smell like garlic, which I thought was crazy. Your husband is, and again, this is just commentary. I don't know the man personally, but based on how they edited him, he is despicable. And you just sit there and just, I don't know if you're the trophy wife, the culture, he likes your, exotic women. I don't know what's going on there, Rilla. But for you to just sit there and fight Brian's fight and not let Brian fight for himself is crazy to me. Because every time they asked Brian something about the lady, he basically admitted everything they said. You seen the footage. He in the back telling the guys, they telling him, Brian, you need to just go on and tell the truth, man. You're going to have to let it all out. Okay. He's sitting here telling people that I'm doing this and I just got to let her know. And then he comes on stage and you're like, well, I didn't know this. He literally told you on stage that he put her name on some on the business or some property or something. I forget, but you guys seen that part. And she's like, I didn't know about girl. He got his side chick name on some property and y'all married? And then he's like, every time he asks me a question, oh, that's a non-disclosure. No, there ain't no non-disclosure. You are messing with that lady. You put a tracking device on your wife's car. She told me, oh, we follow each other on the phone, whatever. You put a tracking device on her car so she can't roll up on you because she probably done that before. So you made sure you fixed that. You got your side chick name on assets that belongs to you and your wife. You admitted that on stage. She's sitting there looking stupid. You admitted basically that that was you in that car with that girl and you shouldn't have done it. They showed the footage where you said you were going to the hospital or his Mike was in the hospital and then Ruella sitting there lying once again. But we never said he's going to the hospital. Then why did you leave the polo match? If his mother was in the hospital and y'all said I gotta leave and then he drops you off at home and then he disappear. We assume he's at the hospital, but then you're saying he never said he was going to the hospital. Then where did he go, Rella? Because if he just went to talk to his brother, he could have FaceTimed him at the polo match. None of this is adding up. But kudos to you, Riella, because when I tell you I have never seen a woman work so hard to be complicit in their husband's lives the way you do, it is crazy. But what y'all have to remember, you can dig up dirt on everybody. And Angela, listen up. If you really wanted dirt on Shamia, like you said you did or whatever, you could call a makeup artist that she pissed off, a stylist that she pissed off, her hairdresser. That's where the real juice be at. Not a person in your neighborhood that you have to live with and look at every day. You don't mess with your neighbors. Your house is your peace. And I'm saying that to say this, Rella. Joe Ellen, if she want to find anything out about you, all she got to do is go to your stylist, your makeup artist, and even she said you was messing with Brian while he was still married to the other wife. You talking about, oh no, that's not true. And she pulls up the dates of the divorce. Your dates wasn't adding up. Yes, you was messing with Brian while he was married, and now Brian's cheating on you. As they say, how you get them is how they leave you. What goes around comes around. You in the same predicament his first wife was in. She said, oh, they wasn't together. It doesn't matter. You said that y'all got married in 2016 or met somewhere in 2016 or something to that effect. But them dates that Joella came up with was matching. And Joella, you are on the wrong show. Go over to CSI Miami or CSI New Orleans or CSI LA because the digging you do, girl, you're not only digging, you're talking to the side piece, you're looking up divorce papers. And I keep saying, why are you digging that deep? Why are you pissing? Everybody's like, Joella, you're doing too much. You crossing the line. You're too much into their marriage. And I look at it as, I get it. And y'all right in one sense. But if that lady did cause Joella to lose her job, and it was probably paying good, and they had to readjust their finances, and now Joella says she's happy at home being a stay-at-home mom. But if she created that, I'll be digging up the dirt on her too. Because you can't replace that money that she lost. You should never get to that point. So at the end of the day, Joella couldn't have found it if Brian wasn't doing it, Rella. So all your energy toward being pissed at Joellen, you need to be turning because you kept looking back at Brian for his co-signing on what you said. You need to be turning that energy over to Brian. Because Brian is a freaking piece of work. He really is. And the fact that you sat there and co-signed on all that bull crap that was coming out of his mouth tells me everything I want to know. Joellen, stop wasting your time. They said she might be filing for divorce. I don't know. I don't think Riola is ever leaving Bryant because Riola is a classic case of a person who likes a lifestyle and the status and how it looks aesthetically on paper. But inside of that house is all kind of crap going on. And that's all I'm gonna say. She doesn't seem like she's happy at all to me. I don't see any real. I mean, they try to fake like they happy with each other. Brian doesn't give me. It seemed like all the other husbands like had their wives back, and they was kind of happy to see their wife. They was when they came out on stage, they hugged and gave their wife a kiss. Brian just looks so ingenuine when he's with Rella. Girl, if you can't see that and the way it come off of the screen to us, I don't know what else to tell you. You know, the only other thing I can see is the filming is over, the reunion is over, and maybe now the side chick will come out, or somebody who knows the side chick will come out because apparently there's NDAs involved. But somebody who knows that side chick who don't got an NDA, they're allowed to talk, and she probably started talking through them. You look like a fool, Rella. That's all I'm gonna say. And with that being said, that was my lengthy recap of the Housewives of Atlanta. Can't wait to see 2 weeks from now it comes back on again. And the Housewives of Rhode Island Part 2 reunion. Like I said, them Housewives of Rhode Island is messy. I like my girls out there in Salt Lake City. They messy but funny and everything else. Them Housewives of Rhode Island, they come for the juggler. They come straight for your throat. They don't even I don't even know how many fun moments I actually seen. At least out there in Utah, because them are two favorites outside of Atlanta. You know, if I got to go with another group, Utah girls, they be having fun doing stuff, but they crack some jokes, do stupid stuff sometimes. Y'all out there, y'all be going for the juggler, like for real, for real. And your husbands are, I will give them their props. They are very involved in the show and they don't mind being on camera. Kelsey, we gonna find out who this man was. And I can guarantee you, when y'all find out the true story, that man may never wanted to film with her. And he probably said, if you're going to be doing this show, you're going to have to leave the mansion. And that was probably her way out the mansion. She probably wanted to leave all these years, but didn't have the guts to do it because she wasn't, girl, you better go ask, you better go find Young Miami, spin that, you better go get young and know how to do some boosting, hustling, whatever. Cause you left there with, you didn't leave there with at least $250,000 in your bank account to a $500,000. You've been there for 10 years. Hell, you should have got 25,000. You should have got 100,000 for each year. You should have left there with at least $1,000,000 to start off with. Tell me, he paying my apartment and my health insurance. No, I would have needed $1,000,000 and you pay 6 months of health insurance and apartment till I get on my feet. But good luck, Kelsey. Polyamorous, my girl. Anyway, you guys, that's my wrap up. Leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I definitely appreciate it. And at the end of the day, like I said, Angela, Shamia, I need y'all to fix this. Okay? One thing we don't like, and it's no longer cute, is we don't like to see pile-ups and bullying on any reality TV show. All right, this is Gen X Nation. And as always, you guys go have a great rest of your day. Peace, and I'm out.